Hi student teachers. Today we'll be doing a brief introduction to reciprocal teaching. This ACE322 group video is done by Maizura, Pauline, Swapna, Nithya, and me, Kelvin. Basically, reciprocal teaching involves turn-taking between pupils to read, question, and interpret a text. There are four main phases, and they are predicting, clarifying, questioning, and summarizing. This technique, devised by Polinska and Brown, requires students to work collaboratively in groups of about 4 to 5, and each of these groups is facilitated by a student leader. Reciprocal teaching serves to encourage students to support each other as they interpret a particular text. In doing so, students are able to hone their interpersonal skills, develop open-mindedness, and give them greater ownership of their learning process. A graphic organizer could be used in the process to monitor and keep track individual as well as groups' progress. The next part of this video will illustrate how the four main phases can be implemented in the classroom. The setting for the video is a Secondary 1 Express class with high-ability students from a well-renowned school. The text used in this project is titled Shoes of My Sensei and is obtained from the book Reading Rights by Mervyn Blake.
Hi guys, I'll be your leader for today's discussion. Let's start with Nithya and take this in a clockwise direction. So Nithya, what were your predictions and what do you think this message was about?
Okay, when I first read the title of this passage, I thought that the text was about traditional Chinese medicine because in TCM, the doctor is addressed as sensei. So actually, right, from history lessons, I learned that sensei means teacher in Japanese. Remember in our history textbook, we learned about the job occupation. Based on the title, it is probably about the shoes of the author's teacher.
Shoes, right? I think in this passage, shoes here is used in a figurative sense. So shoes is talking about being in the shoes of someone or experiencing the life of someone, in this case, the sensei.
One of my predictions was that the author's sensei was a kind person.
What made you think that the sensei was a kind man?
You see, in paragraph 7, it was stated that the sensei sponsored students for precious food rations and jobs. As further below, the author mentioned that his teacher was different from the other Japanese, and the sensei managed to convince the Japanese to release Fong's father, who was held captive.
Now that seems logical.
As I was skimming through the passage, I came across certain names like Shinato, Singapore, and Cavanagh Grove. And if I'm not wrong, Cavanagh Grove is in Singapore, right? Yeah, so I believe the context of this passage is probably based in Singapore, and this was during the Japanese occupation.
For me, I think that the author is in some sort of dilemma because in paragraph 8, it says, why go, why take the risk? It seems like he actually wanted to do something, but something was stopping him.
Yeah, actually, Pauline, I thought the same too, especially the word fear in paragraph 8 and this in paragraph 9. It indicates that the author was fearful of doing something that he thought was perhaps risky.
I think that using prediction when reading text is pretty good to use in a classroom as it helps to establish a motivation for students to read the passage. It also promotes interaction between the reader and the text because the reader proceeds to read the text in order to verify his or her predictions.
I think we're done with predicting. Now let's go on to the next phase, which is clarifying. Anybody needs any clarification?
I want to clarify something, you guys. I'm not sure of the word subjugation. Well, if you read on in the passage, right, it states that young Singaporeans were anxious, confused, feeling our way under colonial rule phases from one subjugation to another. So I think, right, the word means a period of uncertainty or troubled times that young locals experienced when they were unsure of the future under Japanese rule or British rule respectively. Oh, I see. There's also this word, dossier, in line 11. I can't seem to figure out what it means.
So it's like a collection or file of documents on the same subject. especially containing detailed information about a person or a particular topic. Can I also check about one of the words? It is conscripted in line 29.
I think another synonym for conscripted would be to enlist. I played this game for my counter before, where the soldiers were named as conscripts. So I checked out to the web, and they gave me the definition of being enlisted.
Just checking. Does Kempetai in paragraph 7, line 35, refer to the Japanese army?
Yes. From the Japanese era onwards, the military police arm of the Imperial Japanese Army from 1881 to 1945 was referred to as the Kempetai.
Alright, can I also bring your attention to line 40? Once the author say that my family was short of money, who wasn't there? So did he mean that everyone at that time was poor since it was during the Japanese occupation?
I think from the passage, right, it is obviously during the Japanese occupation, and so most likely businesses and jobs were greatly affected, and the majority of Singaporeans at that time were unemployed, so they were most likely facing financial difficulties.
Have you verified all clarification? Yes? Good. Clarifying allows students to identify words and sentences in the text that they do not understand and clarify them by discussing it with their peers. It also encourages students to reread and look for clues in the text to guide them to clear their doubts. Alright people, let's now dive into the phase of questioning.
Okay, I shall start first. I have this pressing question. What is this some clandestine police department responsible for keeping dodges on subject people in their colony? What are they referring to?
Yeah, I was wondering about the same thing too. I tried Googling this out, and it said that after the Japanese occupation, when the British took over, right, they set up a secret British police force that kept track of the locals who were suspected of being in cahoots with the Japanese.
Okay. And I was also wondering, why was the author surprised that the sensei had not been repatriated to Japan?
I think that the writer was surprised because the sensei was not part of the Kempetai, and the civilian Japanese were sent back to Japan when the British took over Singapore. You guys remember that when we learned this history last year?
Yes, but why would the author get blacklisted if he visited sensei at the POW camp?
As Paul mentioned earlier, right, the British were suspicious that there were still Singaporeans who would provide secret information to the Japanese. So, if the author happened to be seen visiting his sensei, he may be considered a traitor, and punitive measures may be taken against him.
In that case, would the author actually be wrong if he decided not to go and visit his sensei? I actually think that it would be wrong if the author were to not visit his sensei at the POW camp. This was because the sensei was considered a hero when he helped the author and his friends by providing food rations and jobs. The sensei even spoke up for his students and relatives who were in trouble with the Japanese soldiers. Now that the sensei needs the author's help, he should repay his gratitude by fulfilling the sensei's request.
Yes, Nadia, you might be right, but I beg to differ on that note because given the author's situation and the tough laws against traitors at that time, it is not wrong for the author to actually be reluctant to go and visit his sensei. I mean, at the end of the day, he does have a tough choice to make between either providing his teacher with the shoes or possibly ruining his livelihood.
I also have another question. In paragraph 5, line 25, the author mentioned that the whole world had gone mad. What did he mean by that?
I don't suppose he means mad as in going crazy, like in the literal sense?
Of course not. What he meant was that during the period of World War II, there was great destruction all over the world. So more specifically, it's trying to refer to the insanity of how inhumane the Japanese treated other fellow human beings.
Questioning helps students process the meaning, make inferences, and connections to prior knowledge when they generate a question. Students learn to generate questions about a text, main idea, important details, and about textual inferences, thereby improving their reading comprehension skills.
So guys, to conclude, let's each do a brief summary of this passage. Let's start with Nitin.
Okay, previously I was thinking that this passage was about a PCM doctor because I had confused myself with the term sensei and sensei.
Well, I think it's good we got our doubts clarified, and I hope you understood the text better.
Yes, I did. Now with the new knowledge that I've gathered, I've changed my summary, and now I believe that the passage is about a student recounting about his sensei's heroism during a period of time when the Japanese were infamous for their atrocities to the people in Singapore.
I think the text is about a forbidden relationship between the local writer and the sensei.
Forbidden?
Yes, forbidden, because the author is not supposed to be communicating too closely with the sensei at a time when everyone is suspicious of each other.
For me, I guess this passage is about the dilemma that the author is in, as he has to make a tough decision between either repaying his sensei for his kindness or protecting his family and himself from being labeled as a traitor.
For me, the story is about a kind Japanese teacher who is different from the other Japanese during the occupation, but was captured by the British as a field idea.
I have the same thing as Calvin, but to add on, right, the teacher needed the author to return him a pair of shoes that he had once given to the author. The author, however, is apprehensive about whether he should see him and help him, as he's worried of being linked to the enemy.
Summarizing helps students construct an overall understanding of the text in their own words. They compare and add on or make changes to their summary. This helps them become more proficient readers.
So reciprocal teaching, in a nutshell, improves reading comprehension skills, build understanding through constructive discussion and reflection, collaborative as students work in groups and learn from each other, develops student leadership and independence as it is more student-centered with less teacher facilitation, and is also transferable to every content area. We have reached the end of our video. Thank you, and we sure hope this will help you in your future teaching.